Alright guys, in this quick video I'm going to show you guys the techniques to add more of that underground feel to your track. So in the last video I showed you guys how to mix. In short, it comes down to the Fruity Wave Shaper, and there's other plugins that have a similar sound, but in the Fruity Wave Shaper we can switch this to what's called bipolar mode, and we can right click nodes and switch the curve types. And basically all we have to do here is change the tension of the curve to create a different type of distortion. So that's what adds that rumbly distortion over the bass. If I take off the Fruity Wave Shaper, see how it loses that texture. Another technique I'll just kind of brush back on the other video is to add an EQ, and we're basically cutting the lows, the super lows. Corb WTF talks about this on YouTube, and I agree, is that cutting the boominess like below 60 hertz, cutting that area usually frees up a lot of the upper tones, and you can push your bass and you can still boost at 60 hertz, but just cutting the stuff below that area helps us to hear more of the higher frequencies. Without this EQ, everything kind of just blends together. Alright, so it's just quick little tips. Fruity Soft Clipper, you guys should already know about the Fruity Soft Clipper by now. Alright, now let's talk about compositional techniques. So one thing I learned about studying this genre is they really love detuning things to stuff other than 440 hertz. So for example, if we solo this Zenology sound here, what happens if in Zenology we change the tuning from middle A440 to, let's do 432 for example. Now it feels like PlayStation. It just resonates differently. I've seen a very common tuning style at 427.47. So let's see if we can add decimals. I'm not sure. So yeah, 427.5-ish is where I've seen the majority of people tune it. And this is equivalent in FL Studio. This is equivalent to tuning stuff down 50 cents. So if you have an FL Studio plugin, however, we have to do it a little bit differently. Let's open up, I don't know, where's Citrus? Okay, let's open up Citrus. To tune this down, we have to click this little cog icon, change your pitch range to 1, and read the values in the top left here, and pull this down negative 50 cents. That should give you the same type of tone. Okay, so that's a tuning style that I've seen. We don't need to always lock down 50 cents, but that's what I've seen in common. Another technique on the 808 is to open up your 808 in the sampler, the FL Studio sampler, go to pre-computed effects and mess with this pogo knob here. To the right gives you a slower pitch bend, to the left gives you a more aggressive. Where it goes like that. Whereas to the right gives you more of like a year like that. On the left it gives you more of a piercing lasery sound. Now some people use the pitch envelope. There's no one way to do anything in FL, as you guys know, but you can also use the pitch envelope. It's just a little more tedious, to be honest. If you go to the envelope, go to pitch, and what we have to do is set the amount high. So this is the starting tuning. You need to pull back your attack. You need to turn off sustain, release, and the hold, and just use the decay curvature, and then you have to measure with your ear the decay curvature. So this is how we sound design kicks in general. It's really just a pitch bend of a sine wave. So we can apply that to an existing sample as well. All right, so that's a little tip that most people don't even know about. In Serum, another technique for sound design is to add an envelope to your octave. So let me start from scratch to show you guys what I'm talking about. For example, if I want to give this Sawtooth more of like that electronic EDM type of video game sound, let's go to envelope 2. Pull up the attack just a little bit, not too much, maybe 10 milliseconds, 20 milliseconds. Left click and drag this over top of the octave. We're going to go to the matrix here and make this what's called unipolar, and we're going to set the range to 1 octave. So now when I hit a key, it goes wing, wing. I'll exaggerate it so you guys can hear. So it goes wing. You can also add this over the coarse pitch, but then you have to do it by ear. So I've just found it easier to do. Use the octave. And then just roll back the attack. All right, so this little detail adds a little bit of a grip to the beginning of the sound. Another technique I've seen is to go to the warp mode, go to distortion, and turn on tube saturation on a sawtooth. And the more we turn this up, the more we get a rounded sound here. Now here's another technique. I forget the YouTuber, so forgive me. I'm not trying to bite your technique. I just can't remember who exactly it was. So if you know who you are in the comments below, shout out to yourself. Let's go to the same thing. Let's modulate this by the same amount. And what we need to do here is just detune these saw teeth just very subtly. Let me take off the pitch envelope for now because it's hard to match those. So let's remove all modulation here. And what we're doing here is adding one sawtooth. Okay, we're basically creating a Reese, but a manual Reese, because we're detuning oscillator B from oscillator A just very subtly. So it creates wave cancellation. And my dumb self is using the wrong tuning knob. Here we go. So you guys can hear that a phasey sound. And now you can hear that sound. What we can do on the grand mix here or under the effects is go to distortion, and to apply the tube distortion to everything. All right, now you can add a filter. You can get fancy with it. You can also add saturation in the filter. Probably wouldn't do it for this sound though. All right, and I've seen under the arpeggio, they love triplets. So you can switch this to triplet timing and go to 1/12 timing and go up or down. And let's play a chord. Now you have to play, how do we get to 1/16? We need to be on 1/12. Here we go. So triplet timing is another key to this genre because it just takes it out of the typical 4/4 perspective. Okay, and you guys can take this sound design further. I'm just showing you basic little things. And then again, adding that envelope back. You can add that like a lasery. I guess bipolar is good because it goes whee like that. So bipolar mode actually sounds better in my opinion. Alright, so let's take off the arpeggio and just show you guys what it sounds like. So very simple sound design techniques there. And again, under the global tuning, I've seen them pitch stuff down. So that's another technique to create the sound. Okay, so I'm just showing you guys little tidbits. All right, there's more we can talk about in terms of sound design, but I'll just kind of keep that short. Now, another surprising plugin, I didn't know they had this many sounds. The Zenology I used, months ago and years ago almost, it had different sounds. So there are new expansions in Zenology, and there's one that has underground sounds, and I think it sounds really, really good in my opinion. I'm not saying it has everything in here, but it has really decent sounds. So the pack is called Underground New Wave in Zenology. So it just gives you these sounds that sound designing would just take too long, in my opinion. Not that we can't sound design. Now, another common theme I've seen in the underground beats is that they're very happy because they start off on major chords. So for example, let's play E flat major. Okay, that's a very bright sound. And it gives a very happy vibe because we're playing a major chord. So let me show you guys the actual notes here. We're going to use my chord codes app. So this is E flat major ninth. And then we're going to a minor ninth. So you guys can get the gist. We're kind of pivoting around that major starting point. I've noticed that's a very common theme amongst this genre. They don't start off on minor chords most of the time. All right, so I think I gave you guys enough kind of bullet point tips. If you guys think of more tips, leave them in the comments below to help other people. We're going to be investigating this style more. I just wanted to keep this straight to the point. Thank you guys for watching. This game from BusyWorksBeats.com. Peace out, guys.